You're tuned in to Dynamics Talk, hosted by the one and only Dion Taylor.
Hey guys, Dion Taylor here. So as part of 2025 Release Wave 2, Microsoft announced rich media messaging inside of Dynamics 365 Customer Service and Contact Center. So think about those rich media messages almost like adaptive cards, right? So as administrators, we can set up these rich media messages almost template-like so that our agents or our customer service reps can then consume them while having a conversation with their clients. Now, let me show you what that looks like and how to set that up. So let's take a look at what that rich messaging experience is, both for the customer service rep and for the customer as well. So you can see here we have a chat request from Jane that I'm going to accept. And what you'll notice then is, just like always, it's going to load that communication panel. Now, previously, we would use this button to show a list of quick replies. So we can do something similar to the rich messages here. So I'm going to click here on this More Options tab, and then here you can see the rich messages option. So when you click on that, you can see here, right? Similar experience. This is showing me all of the rich messages. I can also search for them. And I'm going to actually go ahead and click here on the review button for this suggested reply. So I'm going to click here on review. And as you can see, from here, I can directly send it to the customer. Now, this is going to show me what this rich media message is going to look like for the customer. It's actually going to show a little bit different here in my communication panel. So let's just go ahead and send this to the customer. And as you can see, it shows those three different options. Now, let's switch over to that customer experience. So here you can see those three options, right? Return an item, call us, go to the portal. So if I click on this, that will just open up, as you can see here, a new screen, and that will take me to the customer portal. The same thing here, we have a button that says call us. So this is going to actually call us on a particular phone number. And I can also say, we want to return an item, but I can also enter in something else. Let's just go ahead, right? By maybe it's, I need to talk to a manager. I can do things like that as well. But let's just go ahead and say we want to return an item. Due to the configuration I have done, you can now see here that it says return an item. Now let's go again back to that experience for that customer service rep. And here you can see that the customer selected return an item. Now there's some other rich messages that I have in here as well. As you can see, the rich JSON message. Let's take a look at that guy. Let's do another one. We have a contact card info that is also rich JSON. That's very nice, where we can just ask the customer to confirm some contact information. Let's see what else we have here as well. The Microsoft software options. So this is a card type of rich message, and this is going to allow you to show a carousel or something, a card carousel like this, so that people can very quickly kind of navigate through those different options. Let me show you what that looks like. So if I hit here, send to customer, right, they're going to be able to very quickly kind of see what that looks like. Let me show you that as well in here, right? This is what that looks like. You have an image, you have a title, and then a subtitle here as well. And then I can select that particular one, or I can say, hey, I want some additional information, which now takes you, as you can see here, to a website. So we can do things like that, obviously, as well. And then let's see what else we have here for rich messages. The suggested reply, you've seen that already. There's also something that is called a return or a form type of rich reply. And again, this allows you to very quickly have these customers submit answers to these predefined questions that you have in your form. So again, if we send this to the customer, you're going to see the customer experience right now. Let's just go ahead and show that, right? So I can hit here the start button, which now shows me all of those questions, right? What is the email address? And if I can say something like John, the reason for return is that it is broken. I want some store credits, and you can also see we have drop downs as well through FedEx, and then I can go ahead and submit that. And as you can see, this is not an email address, so there is a little bit of security built in, so to make sure that we are actually capturing something in the form of an email address. Again, submitting this. Now that if we go back here, over here, right, we can now see as that customer service rep all of the answers to those different questions. All right. So now that you've seen how this works, let's now take a look to see how we can actually configure these rich messages inside of Dynamics 365. So obviously we need to do these rich messages templates, as I like to call them. We need to configure them inside of Copilot Service Admin Center. And what you're going to do is you're going to look for productivity that you see here on the side. And then you should find the rich messages right below the personal quick replies. So you're going to click here on Manage, and you can see here all the different ones that I have already set up, right? So let's take a look at the How Can I Help You Today card that you saw earlier. If I click on that, you can see here that, right, hello, how can I help you today? So this is really representative of that question that we saw that customer service rep asked as part of that card, right? Let me go back and show you what that card looks like. And let's do that side to side so you can kind of see that this is that How Can I Help You Today rich message. So you can see here the title really is going to be shown up top here. That's that question. And then those suggested replies are configured below that, right? So my first one is to return an item, right? So I'm going to say, hey, send a message. And then the message, when that customer clicks on that, will then show return an item in the chat. You saw that earlier. And then the image, you can also put in an image URL as well. So that's my first one. The second one is the ability to make a call, right? I have here the button text, the phone number, and then again, the image URL. And then lastly, we have the go to portal. That's the button text. The reply type is the open URL. We're going to have the URL here and the image URL here as well. So that's how we can set up these types of rich messages. And you can see here that this is actually a suggested reply over here. So when we're creating these new rich messages, if I click on this, you're going to see that obviously you have to give it a name and a description so that the rep can actually find it and understands what that rich message is for. We're going to set a language, and then these are the different types that we have here. So Apple Pay is obviously, right, just for Apple messages for business. And how do I know that? When I select this, you can see here that there's only one type of channel that can utilize this particular rich message type, and that is the Apple messages for business. We also have authentication, also only for Apple messages. Then we have cards, and you can see here that this is only available for live chat. Now, this is what I showed you earlier. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find that. These are those different cards, right? Just like you see over here. So the other thing that we can do here is actually allowing the customer service rep to make some changes to that card and allowing them to configure that as well, right? So if you wanted to do that, all you have to do is check this little box. right? Then we also have, let's see here, we also have custom JSON. This is also either Apple Messages for Business or your live chat. And then we also have forms. I showed you that a little bit earlier where you can, let's just see here. I don't have that open yet, but let me just go and see if I can open up the form one as well. So you can take a look at that. This is what that form looks like, right? This is where we can configure all of those different questions I'm going to show you here in a second. Also only for live chat. Then we have a list picker. This is, again, Apple Messages, suggested reply. I showed you that earlier. That was that first one, right? The suggested reply. And the channels here are either Apple Messages or live chat and WhatsApp. Again, allowing the customer service rep to configure that as well. We have the ability to do that. Time picker, also Apple Messages and video rich link as well. And the website rich link as well. So basically, anytime when you create that new rich message, you're going to set that message type one time. And as you saw earlier, I cannot, after I save that, I cannot change that message type from here. I can also not change the channel type, but I can replace whether or not I want to allow my customer service reps to configure those cards. Right? So I'm not going to go over every single one of them, obviously, but I wanted to go over some of the ones that I just showed you in the previous demo. So I'm going to go ahead and now show you, let's just see what we have over here. So this is my contact info card, and that's this particular one. And if you scroll to the side, you can see that this is actually a custom JSON. Now, the other thing that you notice here is that at any point in time, not for all cards, but for some of them, or I should say not cards, but not for all rich messages, but I can actually click on this and then view the JSON also for some of these things. This is a form, right? Not a custom JSON. So I have the ability to view the JSON for those as well. And then you can use them in other places. So let's go ahead and take a look at that contact info card. And that is just all. Can I go ahead and do that? Let me just show that a little bit bigger here. You can see here there are no other fields for you to populate other than the JSON field that you see over here. So that's all that I've done here. Now, you're probably going to say like, okay, well, this is a lot harder for me to do because I am not a coder or something like that. Well, actually, what I've done with this is that I just used something like ChatGPT or Copilot to help me create this custom JSON code. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention is that you need to make sure that you're actually using a version of 1.5 or lower than that, because otherwise the adaptive card is not going to work in that customer service workspace app, right? But again, fairly easy to set this up. So I kind of wanted to show you that as well. Now let's take a look at some of the other cards that we have besides that JSON rich message. Now, again, we also have what I said earlier, right? We have the cards, the carousel. That's my Microsoft software options over here. So you can set up either one card, and let me just go back and show you that. That's this particular guy, right? So you can see the carousel of all those different cards here. Obviously, you have to have a minimum of one card, and then you can add some additional cards to it. So D365 Sales is that title up top. The subtitle is really what you see below here. And then you can also add some card actions, right? So that basically is when somebody clicks on that button, this is what's going to happen, right? It's actually going to send a message. And then you can also specify the message text. In this particular case, I probably want to do D365 Sales so that I understand, right, what the customer has actually selected when they pick that. And then we have the second button here that says more info, and that just opens a URL. Now you can also see we have make call here as well. If I selected that, I would have to put a phone number in there. And then here's my second card, right? Same thing, same setup. So those are also pretty easy to set up. Let's go to another one over here. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And you also notice that there is, let me just go back here to this card, that there is a publish button on the top as well. So if you want these cards to become available for your customer service reps, you have to click, obviously, the publish button, right, for them to be available in there. All right. Now, the other one that I wanted to talk to you about lastly is the forms option. So here we have that return form. And let me see, that's this particular guy, right? You can see here that if I click here on edit, you're going to have a form title. So that's really so that we know, right, what this is. This is a customer return. You can see that over here. And then we have a description. That's what the customer will see. Please enter this so we can start processing your return. When the customer then clicks on start, that's where you can then, they will then see all of the questions here. But I also wanted to mention the image URL. So that's showing this little image over here. And then we can also put that start button text on here as well. We can say submit or whatever you want. And then you can put in your questions, right? So we have, as you can see, the ability to do different question types: single line, multi-line, date picker, single select, multi-select, and drop downs. That's what we have available here. And then we have our response types. So what type of response are we looking for? Are we looking for an email or just regular text or number or URL or phone number? And if you set this to more options, you're going to see that you can also put your placeholder text in here. And then depending on what I'm selecting here, right, if I do URL, it's now giving me that regex expression to make sure that a URL is entered. So I kind of like that as well. I'm not sure if you can change this. I haven't tried this. I don't know if this saves. I'm guessing no, because you have to pick one of these, but who knows, maybe if you do text, you can actually put in that regex expression in here as well for those questions. And then, right, you can see also whether or not a field is required for your customer to fill out. And again, don't forget to publish, obviously, when you are done with. You can see here it also takes about 10 minutes for that to show up. I actually noticed that it was a little bit quicker than that. But yeah, that's the new functionality of when you are creating those rich messages inside of Dynamics 365. Now, one more thing that I wanted to mention: when you are creating those rich messages, let's just go ahead and do Apple Pay. You can see here it says Apple Messages for Business. So this basically means that any channels that you have set up in the instance will have access to those rich messages. So for example, you can see here my channel type is all live chat. Let me actually go to my other screen to make it a little bit easier to show you what I'm about to show you. Here we go. So anytime when you see that I have a live chat channel here, and not in the workspaces, in my work streams, all of those messages will be available, right? So we can see here, this is a chat channel, this is a chat channel, and I have a chat channel over here as well. Now, if you wanted to create messages just for a specific work stream, you can actually do that as well. So for example, if I wanted to, let's go to my Copilot chat work stream over here. And let's say I just wanted to link basically those rich messages to this particular work stream and this work stream alone. You can do that by going to advanced settings and then scroll all the way down. Just like you can do this with quick replies, you can also do this with the rich messages. So I can just click here on add rich message. I can select any one of those, and then I can just add them here to this specific work stream. Now, once you add a rich message to a work stream, it's only going to be available in this work stream, and it's no longer going to be visible or available in any of the other work streams that you have. And then, of course, if you wanted to get rid of that, you should be able to do that from here as well by just clicking edit. I'm going to here say remove, and I'm going to go ahead and close that. So what do you guys think? I think this is an amazing new tool that's definitely going to make the life of customer service reps and customers as well a lot easier. I would love to know your feedback in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss another video again. Thanks for watching. Until next time.